Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fight Net Radio. My name is Lee Honish. I am joined by Andrew Labouche and Miguel Antonio Barragon, and we are the number one source on Facebook, social media, and the longest running show on the subject of boxing available on the web. We're available on broadcast. We're available on the internet. We're available at our website. So visit that, www.boxingtonight.io. But most importantly, my grand plans of domination, boys, with a Z, bomb Z, is Fight Net Radio, the page. My goal has been to be the number one source on Facebook, and I am here to update the numbers for the crowd. Anytime we post at Fight Net Radio, 162,000 people get it in their feed on a daily basis. I like that stat. Of that, 40% actually engage and look at our content, so that's 64,000. And of that, the people who actually click, go to a website, go to watch one of our videos, et cetera, is at 10,000. It's 10,500. So my goal of reaching 1 million feeds before this summer and becoming the single most dominant force on Facebook is well underway, Andrew, well underway.
Very nice.
Well, I talked about it long enough. I might as well do my day job with this show. Maybe just once. I'm just saying, Miguel. I'm just saying maybe I should apply some of that marketing knowledge to the show.
I mean, that would be nice. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. You know, maybe get the T-shirts back up and running. You know, maybe get a couple of advertisers, be like everybody else, and then the next thing, Miguel, we have to go over to the Win and then evict the boxing show from their little hole, and then you and I will take it over on the weekends.
All right. We'll take it over.
I bet you we can take it over on Sunday right now, personally. But hey, who am I to spit in the eye of people who listen to the show and use our drops? This is a show about boxing. We cover it each and every week. Offhandedly, we talk about boxing and also mixed martial arts. So if you're into guy things, including big boobs, this is the show for you. If you're easily offended, let me move you on right now. Just check out our Fight Net Radio page on Facebook. I can't stress it enough. I post there daily and put updates. I am probably the most up-to-date boxing. I'm ahead of Miguel now. I was ahead on stories even above Miguel, but I try to keep it up to date on all the stories. You've probably seen us in the group. So I'd appreciate it if you'd like, follow, click, subscribe, smash whatever it is that you people under the age of 40 do. With that said, we have a theme for this week. Everybody ready for this week's theme? Last week's theme, if you really want to go back and listen to it, was everybody in boxing is smoking crack. That was very favorable with our followers. This week's theme is very simple, Miguel. There's not one goddamn fight signed, period. I have literally never seen so much shit talking in boxing about people who want to fight people, and not one contract is under contract. And we'll go through them because I've got them all set up for us to go through one at a time. But have you seen a point where there are so many people pulling out their dicks to check the size up against somebody else, stating the most outlandish bullshit? I mean, right now we're in the middle of a PED war between King Rai and Gervonta. I don't know where that came from. That's a brand new one in the past 24 hours. Everybody's just like whipping their dick out. And, I want to fight so-and-so, and I'm going to fight so-and-so, and by the way, I'm fighting in May. Dude, there's no contract. What are you fucking talking about? Like, this is like some bad loop. So everybody smoked crack last week, Miguel. This week, everybody believes that they have a fight. Is this just the hangover?
Could they be coming down from the crack eye from days of not sleeping? Could that be it? They're just a little delusional and delirious from the fucking binge.
I don't know, Andrew. You actually are a real reporter. You've been doing this longer than me, and you actually care about the sport. I've given up at this point. F.A. Azerbag last night just sucked the life right out of me, and so did the Chargers for that matter. But They did with the Chargers. You know what, dude? The Chargers are Charlie Brown. How many times do you have to try to kick the fucking football, dude? How many times? She's going to pull the football. She's going to pull I said it in the court last night. Last year, went all the way to the Raider game. They fucked me in overtime. This year, you fucked me when you had a 27-0 lead. You were pitching a shutout. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was bad. I'm used to it, Andrew. I'm like you, where you expect more out of the Raiders.
Lee, look, this is as soon as you guys went for the field goal, I told everyone that was at my nephew's party. I said if they're the Chargers of old, they're gonna miss this thing, and everyone and all the Charger fans are gonna know what's gonna happen right now. He fucking missed a 40-yard field goal, Miguel. 40 yards. He fucking misses, and the rest is history. They lose the game. It's fucking, that was insane.
I was having the greatest night of my life last night, Andrew. I can't tell you. I'm at Mom's house, right? I've got all the food and drink that I want. I got my feet up. They've got a lovely 60-inch 4K TV all to myself. Got the fan going. Got a little bit of rain outside. Got great food. Made food from scratch yesterday, Andrew. I was dialed in. 27-0, Andrew. 27-0. I actually walked out and I'm like giggling and skipping like a little schoolgirl. My mom's like, what's going on? 27-0. 27-0. This is the best I've ever seen him play. Ever. They lost 31-30.
In 2010, they said they were the number one defense, number one offense, and they missed the playoffs. It's been a hard life for Charger fans.
Andrew, I'll do you one better. Remember the Marty Schottenheimer team that was 1 away from going to the Super Bowl? They were playing at home against the Patriots. I was at that game when they lost by a field goal in overtime. And I've had to live through, which you've never had to live through, a 1-15 season. Let me tell you how bad a 1-15 season is, Andrew. There was a game, and I was working new home construction. We had just built a brand new project out. This is in the 90s. I'm sitting there, and I'm listening to the game on a Sunday, working track houses. The kick is up, and it's good. Oh, my God, the Chargers got their first win of the season. Wait a minute, there's a flag. They're calling it back. All right, they're going to re-kick. They set up, and the field goal is missed. Chargers lose. That's the Chargers. This has been going on for 2 decades now. I have a theory about this, Andrew. When there is so much ill will towards an owner, they're just fucking cursed. Okay? And the same in boxing. Like, there's a reason why Floyd doesn't have any money right now. It's so many people hate him that he's just cursed. Like, he can do no right.
He might have overspent. There might be just a tad bit of overspending, but okay, I hear you.
Look, you know me. I buy into The Secret. I believe in positive thinking and manifesting your destiny, right? Look at the Raiders, Andrew. That is a team with so much hate from LA to Oakland. They're never gonna win. You guys are like you're like the Chargers light.
Well, we have an owner that doesn't even like football. So you gotta get
the Chargers.
You gotta get
the Chargers.
The Spanos family's been in football for a while. I believe they're a little bit smarter than Mark Davis. I'm sorry. They got to LA. Mark didn't. We all know that's where Mark wanted to go. He can play like he wanted Las Vegas. He didn't. He wanted LA. He didn't get it. So no, I give the Spanos family a little bit more credit than Mark Davis. Mark Davis is lost. He's way over his head right now.
I'm just pulling for Kansas City now. It's got to stay in the AFC West. I'm sorry, Miguel. You had to listen to that. That's the ranting of 2 AFC West teams that.
That was bad.
I got 3 dogs in the fight. Like, I'm up to 3 teams. I'm going to have to move to, like, Tampa Bay or New York next, maybe Kansas City, so that I can get a team that I can Pittsburgh. I'm going to move to Pittsburgh. They seem to always wind up in the playoffs. I'm going to move to a city where the team always shows up in the playoffs just so I don't feel like shit every year. At least I got the Rams last year, and they talked about firing a coach who won the Super Bowl last year, which is the craziest shit I ever heard this season. The Chargers literally, after losing half their opening games, come all the way back to be a dominant force and then fuck up in the playoffs. And don't even get me started about the Raiders. By the way, Andrew, you should go see. He actually spoke at a Las Vegas church this past weekend and actually got it all off his chest. Holy shit, did he unload? Good Lord. It's available on YouTube. He's very tied into the community and the Christian community in Las Vegas, and he got it all off his chest. And he goes, "Yeah, kind of sucks. I gotta be honest." I'm sorry, Miguel. This is a boxing show. You don't give a shit about that.
I'm trying to take notes. I'm trying to follow along.
Well, I'll do one for you. So Francis, let's do one more. Francis Ngannou dropped the belt, and so now we have what? Gagny or Gain or whatever the shit is.
Ganis, I believe.
I've never even heard of this fucking guy. And I try to keep up. Like, I want to believe that I'm keeping up. Is he number one to fight John Jones?
Well, I mean, technically, yes, because he last fought. I forgot who he last fought, but prior to that, he beat. He fought Ngannou and went the distance, and that was when Ngannou's leg was fucked up or his knee was fucked up, and he basically wrestled, Cyril for like 5 rounds, and he won a decision that way. So he was the last guy to fight for the belt, and it was I think unanimous decision loss. So I mean, technically he's still up there. Nobody else has beat him yet, and I think he has fought one other time after that, I think, which was a victory. So I mean, he's still up there. I guess they can't seem. I don't know what the hell happened to Stipe.
They just want the belt on John.
Yeah, they want the belt on John because at the very least Stipe will give him a little bit more of a fight. But I mean,
I don't know why
Stipe has a heavier hand.
It should be Stipe versus whatever.
Yeah, Stipe and Jones. I'm down with Stipe and Jones, but
that
for
would be
whatever
a great
reason. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but yeah, apparently he, according to what and we don't know who to believe at this point, because we're not inside. But Dana White's saying that they offered Ngannou the biggest contract, I guess, for a heavyweight. He'll be considered at that point the highest paid heavyweight in UFC history, more than Brock Lesnar. As far as I understand, Brock made about $5 million, I believe, over the course of his entire UFC career. And this was, I want to say 8 fights or something like that. So
he makes more in the WWE.
Yeah, he makes more than WWE, of course.
Oh my God.
And everything else, really, and sponsors.
He only wrestles a couple quarters each year.
Yeah, and they put a strap on him or something. So yeah, I guess Ngannou. I mean, again, I don't know how much more than that, but nonetheless, Ngannou said, "No, fuck this, I'm gonna go elsewhere." And we don't know the terms, how many years or how many fights in the course of that contract. But he was like, "No, it's cool, I'm out of here." So he's bouncing, and then now we don't have a heavyweight champion in the UFC, but we will come March, I believe it is March 4th. My birthday, as a matter of fact. So yeah, it looks like we're gonna get a new UFC champion next couple of months.
Lame. All right, so we've covered football, we've covered UFC. Wait, let's cover boobs. In your bed, you only get to pick one. Pearl Gonzalez or Ebane. Ebane.
Oh,
Ebane for Pearl Gonzalez.
Ebane, which we thought it was Ebony, but all right.
Ebane. It's Ebane. If you can only pick one, they're both waiting in your bed for you. Ebane or Pearl Gonzalez.
Geez,
Custom, right?
I'm gonna have to lean towards a Latina. That's how I roll. Sorry.
Yeah, she's liable to do more. But remember, white chicks are crazy.
I mean, I don't know. Compared to Latinas, maybe. I don't know if they match up there.
I have predominantly gone Latina most of my life. Crazy white chicks. There's something to be said about that. Andrew, if you were picking a calendar, I don't want to get you in trouble. You were picking a calendar of nude photos. Would you want Ebane or Pearl?
I don't know. I didn't see that one.
Pearl Gonzalez? Are you joking?
Yeah.
There are only 2 women worth looking at in all of boxing and fighting. One is Ebane and the other is Pearl. And they both post half-naked photos on all of social media all the time.
No, then both of them, Lee. Let's go.
Good answer. Well, I had to cover boobs. I've now covered all 3 non-boxing categories today. Let's move forward. And by the way, for those that enjoy American football, enjoy the playoffs. It's going to be Kansas City or Buffalo versus, fuck, I hate to say it, Andrew, San Francisco. How do you stop them, Andrew? How do you stop them?
Well, yesterday I thought 9-8 Seahawks are doing a good job until the defense. Look, it's the Niners defense. The problem with that, Lee, is they're going to need that ball to bounce in their favor for another, 3 games playing the best teams in the league.
Give the ball to Christian McCaffrey. Just give the ball to Christian McCaffrey.
No. Like I said, they were doing good. They were losing at halftime. Shanahan showed his ugly face again at the end of that half, getting to delay a game, getting a field goal, and then doing an onside kick. Seattle gets the ball at the 40, gets a penalty, gets on their side of the field, and kicks a field goal, takes the lead right back with 0 on the clock. That's Shanahan. That's what you have looking forward to when he gets into the end of games. In all of his big games, it's the history that he has. It showed up again. So the Niners need the defense to have that ball bounce in their favor every single game. That's a hard one. And it comes down to that every time for the Niners. Unfortunately, the Niners are stuck in this the guy off the bench. They don't invest big in quarterbacks. They bring them in, Brady's, Manning's, McNabb's. They've all been in the building. They've never signed any of them. They always complain about the quarterback in the final big games. So that's the history of the Niners. One last stat, Lee, before we go on to boxing.
Yeah, sure.
Since 1990, 15 times in the playoffs, 1 Super Bowl ring. They don't invest a lot in the quarterback. It seems to always come back to the quarterback, and that's what they have looking at again in Purdy.
There you go. So we've covered, Miguel, we've got football, we've got UFC, and we've got boobs. And by the way, for the record, here's exactly how you do it. You pick Pearl, and then you buy off eBay to stay in bed. And
hey, Miguel, it's playoff football. When Lee didn't tell me that was coming. That was all off the top of my head. And
I know you're watching just like me. You got
to be ready.
As much as our teams are not in it, we're gonna watch this thing all the way till the end.
You know what that is, Miguel? That's a fuck your team. That's what those stats were.
That technically was. The San Francisco Drop was definitely a fuck your team.
Spit out your team.
There are certain things I know about a dozen Andrew topics at any given point that I can drop that will send him off the deep end, that will not only send him off the deep end, he will text me later going, "Are you just fucking with me?" But I keep it all points because I know that the true fans of this show, the diehards, they want one complete Andrew meltdown every single show. And I try to provide it for them. It's half the fun. Does it bother Andrew? No, Andrew figures it out about an hour after the show when he sends me the text of, "Were you just fucking with me again?" Yeah, technically I was. I'm after it. But this is a show about boxing. All right, we've got all the guy shit out of the way. You guys are in your underwear getting ready to watch, or you've watched sports for the day. Some of you have watched golf. I don't know how you do that. Good for you. Some of you are watching NASCAR. Good for you. And those of you are our number one fan base in the Middle East. Good for you guys. Let's jump right into it because this is a show about boxing. And this week's theme holds up. Let's start with the first non-signed fight. King Rai, Tank Davis. Jesus Christ. They're now making memes and fake posters about this fight happening at some point in the future. Okay? Like they've got a date. It's really going to happen. Let me catch you guys all up on the week. They both talk shit right after the fight. Ryan believes he'll knock him out in 3 rounds. Gervonta said, "No fucking way, I'm a better fighter than you," yada, yada, yada. This went on. And then there was some kind of PED scandal that nobody really seems to have written a story about. It's just bullshit that they brought up between the two of them. But 100%, this fight is 100% not signed. Not only is it not signed, Oscar himself has said it's not signed. It's likely, wait, let's use one of our favorite adjectives. It's likely to happen, but this fight is not going to sign. So I'll start with you, Andrew. Number one, is the fight going to happen? Number two, if the fight actually does happen, because everybody is jacking off thinking this is fight of the year, which I personally think neither of these guys would engage, who would win?
It has the possibility of happening as long as Gervonta Davis stays a free agent. I think if he stays a free agent, Al Heyman's only his manager. Heyman will be backed into a position where he has to somehow work a deal with De La Hoya to get this fight off, to get Davis paid. They still have not told us his pay-per-view numbers on his last fight. They tell us about
Wait, I'm getting it in my ear, Andrew. 12.
They tell us about his ticket sales, and while that sounds good, we all know what makes these fighters rich nowadays is their pay-per-view sales, not the live gate. The live gate is sort of like a bonus to these guys. It really is. Their majority of their money comes from De La Hoyas, the Tysons, all of the guys that were rich in this sport fight on pay-per-view. So Gervonta Davis, we need to see what his numbers. Those are going to dictate whether he's a superstar or not. If they don't do good, which they haven't in the past, we're going to see Al Heyman have to work a fight with another star to make Davis keep him on that level of thinking he's a superstar. You can't tell the guy, like I'm telling you, Spence is not only his ego has to be hit a little with him not being able to land that Terrence Crawford fight, and everyone's blaming him. Everyone's kind of saying it's his team's fault or his side's fault now. That hurts their ego. That would hurt Davis. You can't proclaim you're a superstar, and then you got Ryan Davis and De La Hoya laughing at you because your side can't come together on some solid numbers. So yes, I do believe this fight will take place because Gervonta wants the money. If you want the money, you want the big money, you have to risk it, man. That's the only way it's going to happen. If the PBC, Lee, or Miguel has showed us anything, it's that the boxing fans will not just tune in to bullshit. They want to see the best fight the best, and that's the only way you're going to get Floyd-like money in this sport. The fighters need to go back to that. I think Davis wants that. He wants it, and so he's going to risk it. He is a prize fighter, and him and Ryan will get that fight done. Ryan definitely will do it. Now, if they get the fight, now this is part two, and I'll be done. Get the fight.
There's kind of a part two, and this has been floated by, no disrespect, because I know that now that I'm kind of in the loop of trying to get the show to where it is and looking at what everybody else posts, they believe that this would be the highest grossing pay-per-view of 2023 if this fight went off, Andrew.
Potential. Everyone knows about it. Look, every time I talk to somebody, what I believe is a casual fan, I don't know too many diehards anymore. Dead serious on that. Dead serious. They know about this one. This is the fight they're asking about. Seriously, it's crickets on that Spence Crawford bullshit. Those guys are not as big as they think they are. Garcia, Davis, they need to hit on this while it's here. Look, even the loser will gain fans. We know that in boxing. We know that. You look at Barrera Morales, big fights like that. The guy that sometimes loses the fight gains the fans. So they don't have to fear that defeat. Just put on a good fight, put your all into it. Your guys are all going to get paid, and you move on.
Yeah, I completely agree. Miguel, number one, will the fight ever get signed? Number two, who would win? Number three, would it be the highest grossing fight of 2023?
All right. So I'm skeptical that the fight's going to take place. I like the fact that there are certain things. I mean, I guess we're going to talk about this a little bit later on in the show, but the fact that there's certain things already in place, right? The wheels are already in motion. We got ourselves a date. We have ourselves a potential, venue, a city that
No,
we
we
need to.
technically don't. And no, Miguel, I've actually
No,
researched it.
he's
Let,
right.
let me save you. Let me save you a lot of trouble. I've been on this all week. I understand what they're saying, but it's all bullshit.
Well, I mean, ultimately, I do believe it is bullshit. I suspect some bullshit's going to go down and the fight's going to fall through for one fucking reason or another. I'm starting to suspect that it's going to come from Tank and fucking and Al Heyman's side. Like they legit. I mean, look, when he fought, I'm talking about Tank. When he fought the other Garcia, that fucking arena was packed. So they're like so. PBC and Heyman are so like gung ho on the fact that the Tank is like a pay-per-view star, which they haven't actually really proven. I mean, I believe his last pay-per-view with Raleigh was like 275,000 pay-per-view buys or something like that. I think the last number I saw. So that's not exactly great. Yes, this would do a lot more, but they're so convinced that Tank is the star that they're not going to give up any fucking leverage on this. Like they're not going to want to compromise shit. So I suspect that we're going to go in that direction and we're going to have this fucking stalemate again. So I don't think the fight's actually going to take place. I would love for it to take place, of course. Whether or not is the highest grossing, damn. You know what? I think it would be. If they make the fight happen in 2023, I think these guys, because of the popularity.
Okay, let's imaginarily say
because
look,
let's
Usyk and Fury.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yes.
nobody fucking knows. Usyk. Look, I would have loved to see Tank fight fucking what's his name Shakur. I would love to see that one. I'd pay to see that one. This one, I mean, I'd probably VIP box it.
By the way, that one also makes the list of fights not signed. We'll talk about it later, but geez.
I want to be honest with you guys. This is the first fight that might be tapping into the younger generation that we haven't seen yet. Boxing has lost the generation of fight fans. They're only interested in the mega fight. They're not watching the sport like how I started watching it when I got into my own house from what my house was watching. The kids just aren't doing that today. It needs to be a big fight, Mike Tyson fucking return for us to do huge numbers. It's been like that for a while. Mm-hmm. We need Ryan and Davis both tapped into the younger crowd. The internet knows.
And Ryan is. I think Ryan's the draw here, and I think Ryan.
It doesn't. But Davis has tapped into Floyd's crowd, so he's bringing his power too. They all believe he's the mini Mike Tyson of that division. So he's bringing his crowd. Ryan, yes, Lee is probably bringing the
Latino. He's bringing the Jake Paul crowd. He's bringing the under. Yes. 100%.
And the YouTubers.
100%.
We're finally tapping into that. If these guys can work a number and then we can show them what we can do on a younger fan base, maybe boxing has an out. And to be honest, Lee's right. We need Ryan Garcia to win that fight. For the better of the sport, you need Ryan Garcia to win that fight and keep that crowd involved in boxing.
Oscar would be insufferable. Oh my God. He is dying to have a superstar.
You know what I love about Garcia though, you guys? The Joe Goosen decision. Joe Goosen brings a stability to that team. He will be able to talk to Oscar. He's a veteran in the sport just like Oscar. They both know each other from years back, decades. This is I'm hoping this is a good thing. This is why I have Ryan the favorite in that fight. Seriously. Now I know Ryan's chin is going to come into question. He's never been hit by the power of Davis. Davis has great power. But unfortunately, I've seen Davis take way too many punches. I don't like the opposition that he's fighting. PBC guys never do good out of their stable. So I'm leaning towards Ryan because of Joe Goosen. And I would also say I'm hoping Joe Goosen can keep Ryan in check with some of the shit that Oscar, like Lee said, is doing on the side.
I actually have to go the complete opposite direction. That was the last part of my argument. I think Tank's power is going to come through if the fight happens. Yes, he does get hit more than than he should be really. And I'm sure that Ryan will connect. I just don't think that Ryan's going to be able to finish him or keep him at bay. He's going to be able to eat the punches. He's going to be able to walk through the punches through Ryan's punches, and at some point his left hand is going to connect on Ryan's chin, and he's going to go down. So if the fight does go down, and mind you, that's I would. Like you said, for the sake of the sport, for the overall well-being of the goddamn sport, yes, let's hope Ryan actually fucking wins. But I don't think he's gonna. I think that left hand is going to find his mark at some point. We're gonna have, and it's not, again, we've talked about this before. It's not exactly the best game plan for Tank to depend on that power and basically to sometimes give up rounds looking for that fucking power. But it's come through every single time. Yes, eventually at some point somebody's gonna have to basically school him for 12 rounds and fight the perfect fight for as long as the 36 minutes of the fight. But I just don't think Ryan's going to be the guy who's going to be able to do it. I feel certain saying that Tank will actually come away with the victory, and by KO too.
Let's reestablish one more time for everybody. This is great speculation. Fight's not signed.
It is.
It's not signed.
Right. No, I know. But it's
no signature. It's all bullshit. Yeah. Hold on, Andrew. We've got plenty of fights that are not signed. Let's get you more fired up about another one. Come on, you can do it. I've got too many screens open. The next one, of course, let's leave it to Holyfield to bring it up. Bivol Beterbiev is one of the most anticipated fights in the whole world. Leave it to Evander Holyfield, who can't form two sentences, to bring up a fight that everybody on the planet wants. And that's Bivol versus Beterbiev. And we'll talk about it later on. Bivol is now starting to come around to the Canelo idea. Beterbiev is Caleb Plant, correct? Do I have that correct?
Yeah, at least that's what I remember, yes.
Is that an actual signed fight? I didn't put it up, but I believe that they have a date, and I believe that they're talking about an actual fight between the two of them. But what everybody wants is Bivol versus Beterbiev. Let's see what Evander says and why it's such a great fight. Let me do it. Joining us is Evander Holyfield. Everything resolved in one minute. Okay. Please send your hate mail to Miguel. He's in charge of sensitivity. But it was pretty accurate, Miguel.
He approved that joke. He approved
that joke too. He approved that joke. That was really good too. It's pretty close.
I actually thought that was audio of Tommy Hearns. I was like, you got the wrong one.
They're about the same. I've met them both. All right, let's start with you, Miguel. Am I ever going to see Bivol versus Beterbiev?
Yes, I do think that one is more likely to take
place. This year or next year?
No, I think it'll happen this year. It'll happen late this year. I mean, keep in mind we're talking about January. We are in January, mid-January at this point.
Yeah, so we always get delusional at this time. Yes.
Yeah.
Like everybody's going to fight this year, and Joshua's going to fight 3 times this year. Oh yeah.
Right. There's plenty of time.
I don't know if this falls under the crack category or it's just not fucking signed, people. I'm not even sure Beterbiev is signed to fight Caleb Plant at this point.
No, we got Yard. I think somebody's fighting Yard. I forgot who.
I think it's Bivol.
Right, no, it's Beterbiev. I think it is.
Okay.
His fight's coming up, right? I'm sure he's fighting. I think by the end of this month, if I'm not mistaken.
And I saw an article where Yardy actually believes he can win that fight.
So I do think there's plenty of time. I mean, there's enough time in the year for this fight to fucking be not even signed really, but the potential of the fight actually taking place and then it falling through and then coming back again. There's plenty of time for that in the whole fucking year. So I'm sure by the end of the year we're gonna get that fight. These guys don't seem like the kind who will duck each other. Yeah, I see it like delayed. If Canelo says no, I want a Bivol rematch, of course Bivol's gonna be like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do the rematch. I'm not gonna, knowing he can get a much bigger payday with Canelo than with Beterbiev, he's probably gonna delay the Beterbiev fight. But at some point later this year, I feel like this fight actually is gonna be. I'm feel pretty certain that the fight's gonna happen.
I like your optimism. You still believe in boxing. You're not jaded yet. Andrew, will we see Bivol versus Beterbiev in 2023?
Yes, I agree with Miguel. I think it will happen. Look, both of these guys are not PBC guys. They're not American fighters. They're not Floyd fanboys. So no, these are still prize fighters that know the best fight the best to make the biggest money. So this fight will happen. What is bullshit on this title is that the whole world is anticipating this fight. They are not. America would be the first place that I would point out that gives two shits about this fight. Maybe the diehards will watch. Cool. Diehards are all going to be telling, but casuals are not staying home for this. No one will be going to the bars for this. This is strictly a great fight for people that are totally tuned in to boxing. That's about as far as this one goes. And and I tell you guys all the time, the Triple G Canelo third fight, that really showed us how bad DAZN was doing on pay-per-view buys when everyone was all mad about having to purchase pay-per-view. It was Canelo's third pay-per-view fight on DAZN, and people acted like this was the first time they had known about it. No one gave two shits about Bivol, so that did not help him. I believe he won Fighter of the Year. No one gave a shit about that after.
He did win Fighter of the Year.
He did, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Across the board.
So I will watch it, but the whole world will not.
Well, let me reiterate, fight not signed. Moving forward to our next non-signed fight.
Lee, this is
this whole show is about non-signed fights. Here's the next one. Deontay Wilder, we're going to fight Andy Ruiz. Guess what? Fight not signed. Boy, you talk about it. How long, okay, Andrew, how long have we been waiting for Andy Ruiz, Deontay Wilder? They talked about this, I want to say, after his first return fight, which was a pay-per-view, I guess, as I recall. This fight has been talked about now at least, tell me if I'm wrong, it's got to be at least, we're in months and months and months of talking about a non-signed fight.
Yeah, I mean, you could go back years, I think, really. This fight was always on the table when both of these guys became stars. They both fight under the PBC. There's always been an avenue for this fight. Either there was a comeback fight, a championship fight. It's always been there. This is something that Al Heyman likes to do with his fan base. So they will talk about it for years. And unfortunately, Deontay will be like 37, 38 when they finally get it done. And there will be shells of their former selves of when this was supposed to happen. But yeah, then it's the PBC way.
Yeah, let me toss in a couple more because Deontay Wilder is rumored to have contracts with Ruiz. Miguel, he has contracts with Joshua. He's got contracts with you name it. He's not signed to fight anybody, Miguel. I'm kind of over the Deontay Wilder thing. He's got to fight someone.
Well, I mean, he just got done, beating Helenius in first round with I think the record for the fewest punches ever thrown in the fucking fight as a KO. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, we do have. He just beat Helenius, so I'm sure he's like, okay, he needed one of those confident builders type fights, right? We know that, and he got it. So, all right, we're done with the confident builders, right? The king is back, right? He's back. Our king is back. So let's go ahead and throw him in there with some fucking heavier hitters. Ruiz, of course, being one of them. If he can get by Ruiz, if he can beat Ruiz, which he has a great chance of doing, right? He still has that power. It'll put him in line for like some fucking big money fights. I mean, who else then, but what beat one of the guys who beat AJ? That's kind of a big deal if he's able to do it and do it impressively against Ruiz. But again, right now it's all talk. Rather not the fight's gonna happen because I mean, let's be real. Ruiz is kind of in the situation where he kind of needs a big fight, right? This guy's pretty desperate, so I'm sure on his end he's going to be down for the fight. Whether or not Deontay signs the contract is another story, of course, but we know where Ruiz is down, right, at the very least.
Well, let me reiterate. Deontay Wilder is not fighting Andy Ruiz. He's not fighting Anthony Joshua. Oh, wait, and my favorite, I'm willing to fight for a fourth time against Tyson Fury.
All right.
None of those fights are signed. Everybody keep up.
I like the fact that it's not even Deontay saying that, Ruiz is most likely the next fight. This is fucking trainer. So it's not even coming out of his own goddamn mouth.
Yeah,
it's not even in his mouth.
It's such Oh, this week has been so rough.
Boxing.
And everybody makes those posters and the memes and the
Right.
dates and save the date. It's May this and it's gonna. Dude, there's no contract. There's no stop. You gotta stop. Stop making the posters. Stop making Deontay Wilder against Anthony Joshua posters coming this summer. No, it's not. It's not. They're not even in the contract talk phase.
It likes them to think they helped build that fight, Lee. And then they keep showing their PR guys and hopefully they get better seats on the credentials. So they're told it's called free labor, right? You get these guys, hey man.
I get everybody's got their angle in boxing. I totally get that. Here's the problem.
Lee, you guys are the ones that make this thing work, man. You got to get out there and do it. Ooh, yeah, those kids up all night making posters. Here we go.
Yeah, they're sitting there on Photoshop putting these guys together. And by the way, my second favorite one is all the Ebane versus Pearl Gonzalez fight posters that they constantly make, and or have made YouTube videos splicing them together because every frustrated boxing guy literally has a hard-on for those two women. Yay for you guys, but those fights aren't happening. They're never going to happen, and you should all really calm down. Let's do one for the UK people. I'll turn to Miguel on this one. By the way, how did Lee Woods versus Michael Conlan become fight of the year? Was it that good, Miguel?
I mean, it was a fun fight. Like I believe Conlan knocked Leewood down early in the fight. I think it was the first round, and for a quick second we're like, oh shit, he's gonna take Leewood out like quick style, right? And then the fight, the fight was pretty competitive after that, actually very competitive, and it was a fun fight to watch. And at the very end, fucking Conlan gets literally knocked the fuck out of the ring. That dude gets knocked out cold and goes to the ropes, and like fucking Rockman and I forgot the other guy's name style going through the fucking ropes, landing on people. That shit was crazy, and he was out for a while.
On the table, right? Yeah. I remember.
So it was a turnaround. It was like, holy shit, that we did not see this coming. But I mean, I don't know if it was. I mean, maybe knockout of the year. I'd say that'd be pretty impressive. That's impressive as knockout. But I don't know if it was
Ring called it fight of the year. I was really disappointed with that. Moving forward, here's for you UK people. Eubanks Jr. Ben. By the way, still not signed.
Oh, God.
You're going to have to be the bad guy now. You're not the golden child. Okay, they're talking like they've got a fight signed. As far as I know, one of them is not allowed to fight, and the other one is scheduled to fight someone else. Miguel, am I still correct in that this is not a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, as far as I know, I mean, I have to assume that Eubank Jr. is already scheduled to fight somebody else. I don't know who exactly because I haven't read into that part, but I know that
nobody cares because it's English fighting. It's not real fighting.
Right. But I mean, Conor Benn, as far as I understand, that motherfucker can't even get into a license yet. I'm not sure he even has a damn boxing license yet. So it's gonna be a while before we see that motherfucker back in the ring. But I mean, I guess I agree with what Eubanks is saying here. Basically, let's be real. It's not like Conor Benn is like a foreign to being portrayed as the bad guy because he has no problem with that. I'm sure he doesn't have an issue with that whatsoever.
He's a dick. He's clearly a dick.
Yeah, I mean, English dudes are cocky in general, I'd say. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know when the hell we're gonna see Ben back in the ring. Like whatever, what's the word, momentum or he had prior to this is pretty much dried up at this point. Like if he was trying to strike where the iron's hot, the iron's fucking cold at this point. Like he's already cooled down. The Jets have been cooled at this point with Ben. Let's hope he can recapture that, and with the help of fucking DAZN and Eddie or Tommy Hearn. But yeah, I get Eubanks, in this situation here, he wants a name like that. He wants to fight a guy and, have that rematch, quote unquote rematch. Well, it's a good payday, and there's a history with their pops and everything like that. So I get it, but I mean, he should probably just move on at this point. He should just let it go because who the fuck knows when we're gonna see Ben back in the ring.
Andrew, do you even give two craps that Eubanks trying to draw out Ben to get a contract with a guy who's not even allowed to fight? And as a side note, Ricky Hatton is singularly and probably he's trying to get fights with old guys as well. What's going on in England, Andrew? Like, what the fuck is up? Do they just lack decent guys beyond Tyson Fury?
Yeah, well, yes. That's why we haven't seen too many crossover stars from England over here in the States where the best fight. I would also agree with Miguel that his momentum is dead. He hasn't had a big fight. The Ben thing fell through for whatever, I guess it was big maybe over there. Didn't make that much noise over here. It wasn't a big anticipation for that showdown. DAZN as a company seems to be dying fast here. We were thinking that they were going to purchase the PBC. Maybe they were looking to sell to Al Heyman. Like, who the hell knows at this point? Because $6 billion in losses. You reported this earlier this week. All of their fighters are taking defeats. Their two biggest signings, Joshua and Canelo, are on the brink of not even being superstars in this sport. Joshua might seriously already be there. Canelo's right behind him. I know we pointed out that Saul Alvarez is the biggest grossing pay-per-view seller right now at 600,000 pay-per-view buys. That isn't shit when your company's $6 billion in debt. That is not saving the company 600,000 buys. So he might be the biggest seller in boxing. It's nowhere near what they need to save the company. I don't have any faith in DAZN anymore. They're putting money into bullshit like they did yesterday. I didn't watch a single minute of any of those fights. It is just sad what Eddie Hearn took all those people's money. He took all the investors' money and couldn't do a fucking thing for them. All they did was lose. The PBC, at least they got fucking, years of contracts or doing something in the sport. Eddie Hearn didn't even last two fighters. Joshua and Canelo very well might fucking bankrupt this company. He never even got past those guys.
Well, he can always be an English promoter. By the way, there was a story this week where he said that he couldn't cross over into America, to which he said, that's just bullshit and people are afraid of me. Nah, it's kind of a fact, dude. You're sucking gas here. You can't really put on a fight in Vegas. Put a fight on in Vegas or New York. Show us up. Bring a big fight to Vegas or New York. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Right. And not no fucking like putting on a fight somewhere in Davenport, Iowa, or some weird ass shit like that, like he's been doing, recently, going to some like towns like Tucson or some shit. Like
Garcia and Fresno.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like let's do the smart fucking thing here. Like, clearly he thinks highly of himself. So I was like, come on, come to Vegas. Let's do one of these, fucking Staples Center type shits. Like do that. Like, why don't you do that? I to some degree we want to give him credit because he put some fights together, right? And something is better than nothing. But the fact that his company, or I guess the exclusive company, has a deal with DAZN is like that much in the red. I would figure he'd be sweating bullets at this point.
Fun fact, he was promoter of the year for 2022. Fun fact.
Because he had Canelo, basically?
Yeah,
no
basically. All right, let's move on to our next. It's not signed fight.
He didn't get that from DAZN, did he? Was the award from his company? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It was an in-house award.
All right, the biggest hard-on in boxing is Bivol Canelo rematch at 168. He's now setting a weight. I think I would be ready. I'm happy to do it. And let's be honest, 10 million is better than 5 million a fight. I'm reading between the lines. By the way, for all of you, I know as you guys are sitting there in your Photoshop with your dick out looking at your Pro Gonzalez photos and jacking off and making posters of fights that aren't going to happen.
Don't judge me.
Don't judge.
We can hear it, Miguel.
I'm trying to mute it, guys. Sorry, fuck.
I'm not saying that I signed up for eBay's OnlyFans account. I'm just saying that they both have OnlyFans account. Bivol Canelo in 2023. By the way, not signed. Follows the theme. I start with you, Andrew. Am I going to see this in 2023?
Yes, because Canelo wants it, and most of the time when you are really the driver in the seat, did I say that right? You're in the driver's seat. When you're in the driver's seat, They will
Or
listen
you
to
would do a
you.
sexual innuendo about Earl Gonzalez.
Sorry.
I mean, one or the other.
Hey. They will follow you. They will listen. So Canelo definitely drives the zone. What he wants, he gets. And he will get this fight. Now, if that's a good idea, we don't know that yet. And that's where your promoter, your matchmakers, the people around you, your team is supposed to sit you down and go, look, there's this avenue and then there's this avenue, and try to talk you away from a fight that you might not win. And you're the only guy that knows it, doesn't know it. So there's that part of this. But unfortunately, he doesn't have a team like that. He has a bunch of yes men, and they're going to listen to him, and he will be fighting Bivol again. Now, if that fight is made at 168, fixed fight, I don't like it. That's Canelo buying his victory back. That is bullshit. I've never heard of a fighter beating a champion and then agreeing to come down in weight to fight the champion again to give the champion even more of an advantage. He already had the advantage of being the pound for pound face of boxing. He was ahead on 2 points in the first round because of that, and you won the fight. You don't then go, hey, you know what? Now I'm going to go to your weight division under me and fight you again. Get the fuck, fixed fight. Don't like it.
Miguel, 2023, do I get Bivol versus Canelo, sadly, at 168, not 175?
Yes, we most definitely do. There's more, like I think there's more of a chance that we'll see this fight in 2023 than Garcia and Tank. So, yeah, I'm almost certain this fight's gonna go down. Listen, when back before Canelo made the venture to 175, I want to say it was before he even fought Kovalev. Bivol was asked if he would be willing to go down to 168 to fight someone like Canelo, right? And he said yes back then. And then Canelo eventually moved up to 175, and he lost to Bivol. And then Bivol was asked the same question again. It's like, no, fuck that. No, I'm down. Like, I'm the man. I just beat his ass. Let him come back up to my weight class. And now he's flip flopping again, saying, yeah, it would with enough motivation to go down to 168. So he keeps flip flopping back and forth on this topic. Now, I can understand each of those perspectives, because let's say, for the sake of argument, right, and this is just a hypothetical scenario, he comes back down, and let's say, this is going to be the difficult part, let's say he beats Canelo again. Let's just say he beats Canelo again. He becomes the undisputed champion at 168. Holy fuck. Let's say he's not going to stay at 168, right? Chances are he's going to move back up to 175. Let's say he ends up beating Beterbiev. Holy shit, this motherfucker is like fighter of the goddamn decade for this at this point. Whooping people's asses in 2 fucking weight classes, and the top dudes, not just like fucking paper champs. So I can see several years ahead, he's looking at it that way. He's like, hey, you know what? I can go down and make a humongous ass payday, and if I still got the size advantage, right? Because he's still naturally the bigger dude, to be able to beat Canelo if he can get that shit done. Now, of course, there's a lot of ifs there, but if the stars align and he ends up beating these motherfuckers, like, holy hell. Like, Bivol is going to be up there, you know what I'm saying? So I can see why, the potential to really, like, legacy, put that shit in his fucking record, for him to have beaten guys like Canelo and Beterbiev, if he can get that accomplished, of course. So I can see the motivation. I can see why he want to do it. I don't like it. I would much rather he stay at 175, where we know for sure he's going to have the advantage, and let Canelo move up to him. Because keep in mind, if at some point Canelo's gonna want to like stay at 175, we have to assume he's stubborn as shit. He's gonna move up to 175 and probably stay there for good. I'm not sure if he's gonna want to keep going back and forth between 168 and 175. And if Bivol is the number one dude at the weight class, let's say at some point he beats Beterbiev, right, and he's like the number one guy, he's like, look, you have no claim to being the number one dude. You're gonna have to come through me, and I already beat your ass twice or whatever. So I would much rather he stay at 175 and force Canelo to fight him at 175. But hey, he sees the dollar signs. He sees the potential of maybe beating Canelo at 168, becoming the undisputed champion there, going back up to 175 and trying to do it there as well. So I get it. I don't like it. I would much rather he stay at 175, because this smells a little fishy.
Did you see how big he looked when him and Canelo fought? You see how big Bivol looked?
Yeah.
He's gonna drop a whole division.
He looks like a natural 185. He looks natural at about. He probably walks around 185, 190, and probably cuts to 175.
To me, it's just another loophole that a hater can go down. oh, he didn't beat him at the weight that he was originally at. Fuck him. Fuck that fight. And there's nothing we're going to be able to say about it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. He made him go to 168. I don't know why. That's worse than a catch weight. I mean, at least Floyd gave fucking people catch weights. You're making the dude drop a division? Come on. This is insane. Like, it's a bullshit fight. I'm going to tell you this. If he beats him, we have to watch Canelo Bivol 3? Or is then Canelo gonna just walk away and go fight someone else?
Yeah, he got the win. He got the win back, and it's like, all right, call it a day. I'm out of here.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to watch the third one. I would rather watch Bivol Beterbiev at 175 for light heavyweight supremacy. That's what I want. Those are the two guys that outdid the tournament. Why aren't they fighting each other?
There you go. And for the record, just so that we stay on track with today's topic, fight not signed. Moving forward
to another fight. Lee, yeah. This show is so hot if all these fights are signed. Do you know how hot boxing is?
Oh, yeah, no, wait. Look, I want to be completely wrong. I want everybody to prove me wrong. Let's go to an easy one. Spence Thurman, still not signed. Okay? We're going up in weight class, right? Now it's about, well, I'm leaving welterweight and I'm going up and I'm going to fight Thurman at that weight class. All the bullshit is now, well, I believe that Spence versus Crawford is going to happen at the upper weight class and not at welterweight. And they're dropping all the belts and they're going up there, blah, 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 blah. Words. No fights are signed. I'll say it again. No fights are signed. Miguel, Spence Thurman. This should be a slam dunk. Thurman has been training for 6 months at this moment. We have been covering the story of Thurman training for 6 months to fight Crawford or Spence, and the fight's not signed. Fuck me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is, the fact that these two guys are PBC guys, like, there's a pretty good chance that the fight is going to be made. Like, of all the fights that we just talked about, this one is pretty much going to be, like, signed and sealed within the next week or so, I have to assume. These guys are on the same fucking, same boat with PBC. So I don't see why this fight, and then, they're doing it at I think it was super welterweight. So, yeah, of all the fights that we talked about, this is the one.
Do you want me to give you the keyword wait, let me give you the keyword. Nearly.
Yeah.
Keyword is nearly.
Right.
Which means not. Nearly is the same as not.
Right. But it is nearly, which is two separate words. In other words, a lot of the other things are already in place. It still means nearly.
Nearly is closer to not than not.
Yes,
nearly.
That's pretty as close as we're gonna get right now. But
that was a lawyer's argument. That was awesome.
I mean, let's be real. This is the fight we don't want, and we're gonna get it. That's just how fucking boxing is. They give us the fights we don't want to fucking see, and we don't want to see this one. So chances are this fight's gonna be made, in the next week or so. So hey,
wait. Let's replace some words in here. Nearly, close. Yeah. Spence Thurman is close to being finalized. Wait, let's try another one. Almost finalized.
Lee, that was if the gloves don't fit, gotta quit.
You gotta quit. Jesus, there's so many different words you could stick in there. But I almost want to bring up a thesaurus to see how many different words I could stick in that are close to nearly. That's today's thing. Everybody's nearly, almost, close to, got a contract, just need to sign it, blah, 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 Andrew, blah, blah. Spence Thurman should be a lay-down home run. Thurman will do it for a cup of soup at this point.
Yeah, this fight is not a mega fight. This is not the same fight.
It'll be pay-per-view. Don't worry, it's pay-per-view.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Anything the PBC puts on is pay-per-view. They don't have that much money left, Lee. For what these guys are trying to get out of Al Heyman, he does not have that in the PBC fund anymore. So they has to go to pay-per-view now. Look, he has one fight since 2019. He is not a superstar. He is not a draw. He might be a PBC stable fighter where their crowd will know him, but Keith Thurman has lost all of his momentum, his career. Everything is gone. One fight since 2019. And the fights against fucking Mario Barrios, who no one fucking knew outside of the PBC anyways. There's that side of it, too. He fought a nobody since 2019. One guy. So I don't give a flying fuck about Spence fighting Thurman. This is not a good fight. This is the same shit. Everyone's like, oh, it's a better opponent than Terrence Crawford had. Bullshit. Same thing. Same guy. One fight since 19. We're in 2020 fucking 3 now, gentlemen. 23. He has one fight. Fuck out of here. Dude's a nobody. He's a fucking nobody. Spence is fucking robbing you PBC guys. Whoever still believes in these PBC guys, you're the fucking clown, man. You're the joke. It is Al Heyman that has always stopped these fights. He's continuing to stop these fights. Yeah, people are starting to wake up. If you're not a total fucking blower for Al Heyman and what all that fucking Mayweather told you back in the days, you totally didn't give into that. You're starting to wake up that it really is Al Heyman that's blocking these mega fights from happening. He's built fighters. Charlo. Jermell. It's Jermell, huh?
He made the list. He made the list. He's
He
on
made
here
the
today.
list, but where's his mega fight? Dude, he was unified.
He's
How
not-
long ago?
No. He made the list with more bullshit about who he's supposed. There's so many people on the list this week that.
Let's go. Let's go.
Wait, hold on. I got to do this because I brought up the thesaurus because they all work in here. Spence Thurman practically finalized. Spence Thurman just about finalized. Spence Thurman pretty much finalized. Now there's some really good ones. Spence Thurman borderline finalized. Spence Thurman as good as finalized. Spence Thurman within an inch of being finalized. Spence Thurman somewhat finalized. Here's one that I didn't even know. Spence Thurman Feckley finalized. Don't know what it means. And if you do, good for you. And my personal favorite, Spence Thurman within an inch of being final. That is literally within an inch of by far is, oh wait, I take that back. There's one at the bottom. Spence Thurman, more or less, is finalized. There you guys go. Just don't think that it's me. They're just opening up a thesaurus and sticking in new words to get you guys to click on stories. Hate to say it, it's all clickbait. Yeah.
The contract that was being reported that Terrence Crawford accepted, the guaranteed money, no pay-per-view, didn't.
It was somewhat accepted.
And still this fight isn't made, and still it isn't made. You guys, that should have been the last straw for the Al Heyman fucking is almighty in boxing. They are a joke. They're a fucking joke that they do not want to fight. It's as clear as day, man. Like now the Gervonta Davis thing, that like Lee said, they had you guys and me included, they had us go batshit crazy when this fight gets announced. We're all putting Garcia Davis done. All of a sudden, the next day, it's announced he's fighting this other fucktard Garcia. We don't know who he is. The next 2 days after that, they're like, oh, yeah, there's not even a contract, really.
So you were talking about this earlier. My favorite thing with casual fans who are like, oh, yeah, Garcia versus, Davis. I said, it happened. He beat Garcia. Really? Yeah. Happened like 2 weeks ago. You didn't see it? It was on pay-per-view.
I know.
Hey, you guys got your fight. Let's move forward. Hey, remember that guy named Ramirez? Guess what? He's got in-house fights with Lopez and Haney, which, by the way, not signed. And the person being most screwed by Lopez, Haney, and Ramirez, Regis Prograis cannot get a fight. Regis over the last week has done everything to try to talk anyone out of the stable to fight him. This is the most fantastic of the non-fine sites, right? So Haney's gonna fight, and I don't know if I have it up here, but Haney versus Lomachenko, Lopez versus Regis, Ramirez versus any of them, and any combination thereof. And by the way, for the record, all of us are making freaks. And there is one floating around for Lomachenko, and I think I've even got a Bob Arum story where he's like, fight's not signed. Bob actually says, point blank, At the end, can't make it up. Guess what, people? Fight's not signed. Joining us on the show is Bob Arum. Bob, you can keep this all in house. Have you got it all set? Listen, it's factually signed. Do you know what factually means? It means almost, right? Hey, said it on the show. I'm listening, for God's sakes. I got to say, it's within an inch of. We've got a date. We've got a location. They just haven't signed a contract. Well, what about everybody else in the division that wants to fight in combination? Listen, mostly it's borderline. It's as good as. Largely, we've got it. It's within an inch. Thanks, Bob, for clarifying for everyone that you don't even have any Loma under contract. Prograis. Nobody wants to fight Prograis. He could actually beat one of my guys. What are you fucking kidding? I wouldn't make that fight. All right, I'll start with you, Miguel. This little fucking four corner, like put them all in the ring at the same time. This is WWE shit. I want all four guys in the ring at the same time and let them get it over with. Last man standing can have all the belts. Oh, and by the way, for the record to toss into this pile is Shakur Stevenson, who I didn't mention, who made the insane statement that he will have all the belts by the end of the year. So there's technically five guys all fucking jacking off over this.
They're all the belts are on one guy right now, right, Haney? So I don't see that. He doesn't have to. If it would have been a different story if all the belts are like, with separate fighters, that would sound like, oh wait,
not signed. Wait, not signed fight. It's just here's another one for you. This is for you football fans. First and goal. Yeah, it's his first and goal. This is where we're at right now with these fights. These five, listen, these five guys could have a tournament and it would be spectacular. Like, there are so many guys right at the top that all keep talking about how they can knock everybody out, including Haney, who believes that, he shits sunshine.
Well, I believe one of the potential, like looking at this article here, one of the potential locations or venues is MSG in New York. I believe that was, one of the names being tossed out there, and also overseas in, Saudi Arabia, wherever the fuck. I'll tell you what, if this fight takes place in New York in May, I'm going to this fucking fight. Like, I am flying to fucking New York to watch this fight. I love these kinds of fights. The best fighting the best. I've never been to MSG. That's going to be the goal if this fight gets made for New York.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad road trip.
It would be well, I'll fly out there. I'm not going to fucking drive out there. But nonetheless.
No. I mean, New York in May is.
Oh, gotcha. But yeah, hopefully this is just fingers crossed. It's early in the year. We're still optimistic. Hopefully it goes down here in the U.S.
None of these fights are signed. None of them. This one should be a laydown. This fight should be a laydown to make.
Right.
It is a laydown, and actually the last two articles you have are both laydowns. Look, Regis is in a good position. He doesn't need fucking Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is not filling seats like if he was to go over to the UK and fight Josh Taylor in a rematch, okay? That's going to make him a millionaire, not Jose Ramirez in Fresno, California. So scratch that fight. He doesn't need Ramirez. That Top Rank, they probably already know that. They're not putting Regis in with Ramirez. Regis is a potential big fight, unification fight with Josh Taylor. That's the fight he should be aiming for. And he already, he lost to Taylor, but it was a close fight. They know each other. This one right here, Lomachenko ain't scared of anybody. We know that. Devin Haney's last four opponents is Linares, Joe Diaz, and Kambosos twice, the unified champ, and then he defends his title against the former unified champ. He's not scared to put they're both going to be there. I'm not scared about this fight. This fight will get made. Top Rank is the only company left that knows how to sign talent, and they know how to get their guys motivated to fight each other. They've been doing the last promotional company in this sport that gets this shit right. And De La Hoya has done good, but he's not doing it at a consistent level as Top Rank. De La Hoya has his fighters in divisions. He doesn't own stables of fighters in one division. Top Rank does, and that's why they continue to grow stars. So the guys that sign with Top Rank, Lee, I believe they know they're the best in the world. If Top Rank signs you, you are the best fighter on paper in the world. You have that going into the negotiation. Then Bob Arum or whoever talks to you into your ear, these mega fights get signed.
Of course, I make the deals.
There you go. No, and I only say that.
I took the good Vargas brothers. I sent the other two Vargas brothers to Marv Nation.
Lee, I only say that though because remember Bob said that it's Todd now that does a lot of the work for Top Rank. That's the only reason why I say I don't know who's really doing the negotiating.
Bob just eats soup and he goes to the fight and says crazy shit. It's all run by. They're younger people that are aware of social media. They're a hip crowd.
I have this I have this idea that they just walk in and like Bob's in a room and they get blessed by him. They go and kiss his hand. You know, he gives them a blessing.
Yeah, it's pretty much the way I explained the ESPN deal after he lost HBO. I really think they all sit around, fuck HBO. What have you got? Well, we're going to be on ESPN, Bob. Oh, I like ESPN. That's a great call. Well, it's not really ESPN, Bob. We're going to be on their streaming platform. What the fuck's a stream? When I go take a leak, that's a stream.
I want to stream.
Yeah, right. I'm sure that someone had to sit there and try to explain that there were going to be apps in the future, right? And that boxing would be exclusively, who would buy that shit? Well, they're on your phone. I have a flip phone. All right, well, people use actual, I see all that stuff happening. But the crowd that's underneath him, okay, they're very young, they're very hip, they're very aware of social media. He has a great team underneath him. And for all the fun that I make of Bob, he's very open to allow people to do whatever it is that they're going to do as long as it makes them money. I mean, that is the vibe I get when I see a Top Rank event being put on. And they're very open to crazy ideas. I've floated crazy shit with Miguel at my side. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go in there and do a show from up there on the stage after they're done. Okay. What? Yeah, go ahead. Have fun. I think they're tearing it down, so you might want to hurry. No, we were just having a debate whether or not why wouldn't you? It'd be great. Okay, thanks. That actually happened at the last fight. We were both looking at each other like, I didn't actually think they were going to approve that. I was actually shocked by it, but they're aware of social media and social. She was like looking around for people to tell that we were going to go do it and record a piece. I'm like, I didn't think you were going to approve it. She goes, why wouldn't I? You're here to promote the fight. Well, yeah. I got nothing. We were so shocked by it, we had to go to the theater at that point. I'm like, I got nothing. I didn't actually think that would happen that way. So there you go. Hey, let me do a fun one just for me and Miguel, because I told him it would be like this. Guess who also doesn't have a fight sign? Otto Wallin. Still, Otto Wallin can't get a fight and is now prepared to be the next knockout for Anthony Joshua. And I think this is a fight that will actually happen in 2023. I think this is a perfect fight for Anthony Joshua because it'll take one round. Otto Wallin, since the day I told him he was going to be in the position of literally begging to fight anybody in the top 10 again, has not fought anyone in the top 10 again. Now wants to be the punching bag for Anthony Joshua. So of my pick of all these fights, this fight, Miguel, is happening in 2023.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. That really is not a bad idea. I mean, he was within, a couple of fucking seconds, a referee stopped it. I mean, undisputed. So he can unload that left hand, and who the hell knows, especially against Joshua, especially coming off of 2 losses and in the mental state that he's in right now, dude. He's got, I mean, as long as they're able to actually take advantage of the situation, which they were not able to do last time. So there's no guarantee that these guys will be able to actually get it done this time either. But hey, again, it's nearly. It
wouldn't be a sexy poster.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a sexy. You have to do like monster truck show voice. Otto Wallin was one punch away. He was a TKO away from becoming the undisputed lineal champion of the world. He's back to take on Anthony Joshua, literally 5 years after the fact.
Do you guys realize that since signing Joshua to that, I don't know, fucking $300 million contract, he has had 3 comeback fights? Do you really think they paid Eddie Hearn to have this guy go up against 3 showcases? Hey, I'm so glad we're paying you $30 million for you to fight fucking Otis Wallen. Cool. It looks like a real good investment for us. You beat Klitschko. We give you the biggest contract in sports history, and you give us 3 comeback fights. Awesome. Yeah, you're really doing it. Fuck out of here.
Okay. For the record, for Eddie Hearn, he did say this week that if Anthony Joshua loses his next fight, any one of these next 3 fights, he's done in boxing. AKA, I'm done promoting him. He's done promoting him. I don't think he's done in boxing. I mean, Ira Wallen is a perfect example of you're never done in boxing and someone will listen to you because they need the content. But is he done in boxing? No. Is he done with Eddie Hearn? I think Eddie Hearn's done trying to chase down, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million for him. There you go. Let's move forward to another guy who still hasn't signed a fight in our categories of nobody's fight. Now Eubanks Jr. would like to fight Golovkin. By the way, not signed. And Golovkin hasn't signed anybody. Now, Team Golovkin has said they're interested in Eubanks Jr. Talk about cherry picking here, Miguel. This is actually a wonderful fight for Golovkin.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful fight for fucking Eubank Jr. I mean, Golovkin is on the way out, It's like anybody. Yeah. This is exactly where fucking we expected to have somebody like Munguia come in and like try to take the old champ out, like the old lion kind of deal, right? But it's just like I'm surprised that there aren't, that I mean, Golovkin at this point should be just like essentially entertaining a bunch of offers. Like, all right, who wants to take me out, guys? Who wants to be the one to take this old lion out and get one humongous payday and just call it, jump into the deep end already? So hey, that's I'm down. Hey, it's Golovkin that's saying that they'd be interested in a fight with a dude like this. Okay, fine. Down the road, I don't know how much down the road. The dude's already fucking 40 at this point. I'm not sure how much further down the road he's expecting to fight.
I think he can get 2 paydays. You can get 2 paydays out of Triple G.
All right, that sounds reasonable. But yeah, I mean, hey, let's do it. Fucking let's throw the I'm sure I wasn't trying to remember how many losses Eubanks Jr. has. I think against Groves and a couple of other dudes, but nonetheless, hey, let's do it. Let's go to New York. Let's do it at the that small theater outside of MSG, which is where Golovkin kind of made his major splash in the U.S. with HBO back then. Go back there.
Right now, he should fight at the Lenovo at downtown LA, right? Because he's in Santa Monica now.
Let's see
if he can draw the LA crowd.
I question the drive of Jaime Munguia. Fuck that De La Hoya doesn't promote you well. Where is your team at? You have over 40-something professional boxing matches. You don't have anybody in your team that can put out press releases or get a hold of the media and start calling out Triple G, start calling out the Charlos. Where's his drive to make a huge fight for his fans? I question his drive, his heart in this sport. I think he's another guy that he knows damn well if he wasn't boxing, he'd be doing a, $80,000 job somewhere, hopefully a foreman of some warehouse. Boxing gives him money that he would never see. He's a bitch to the fucking sport. He's not here to be a prize fighter. He's here to collect a paycheck he wouldn't see anywhere else. That is the problem we have in our sport right now. And hopefully fighters like Gervonta Davis, Ryan, the whole lightweights, all of the lightweights have been fighting each other. A lot of the junior welterweights are fighting each other. The smaller divisions are doing it. Heavyweights are doing it. Hopefully these guys will show the younger generation that it takes risk. You have to put your neck on the line to make the biggest dollar in this sport. And we can get back to prize fighting. But unfortunately, we had a generation of fighters who fucking were told for 10 years, rob the bank, rob the bank. All I do is rob the bank. And now
season. Well, no, we did have the era of strap season.
That is coming off of rob the bank though.
Yeah, it's like 1 A and 1 B. Yeah.
They take the least amount of risk for the biggest reward. That's what turned in boxing. That's what Floyd showed us. We all bought into it because we were scared of the UFC. I know you weren't, Lee, but I'm talking about diehard boxing guys that were tired of hearing that the UFC was about to take over combat sports. We allowed him to dictate the sport, and it fucked a whole generation of young guys and probably their trainers too. Everyone's trying that blueprint. It's sad where we're at right now. Like I said, we keep going down this path. It's not going to look good in 5 years. It really isn't. We need somebody who crosses over into that younger generation. I'm praying that Ryan Garcia is that somebody. We need him fast.
Miguel.
And sorry, Lee, Davis with his hitting his wife and phone calls. He's gonna kill me. That don't help, my man. That's not helping you cross over in America. You're not gonna be a crossover star with you putting out tweets. You know, it's my second baby mama that be lying about me hitting them. You can't do that. You can't fucking be that guy and also be the poster child of the business world or the poster child of suburban America or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say, Lee. You can't play both sides of the fence. He needs to quit that shit, pick the good side, and play the role. Maybe then you'll get accepted. But no, unfortunately, the guy that's going to be the poster child of America boxing if they win that fight is Ryan fucking Garcia.
Let's do one more, or do you want to do honorable mentions? Because Jermaine Franklin.
Oh, I gave you a still not signed, Lee.
That's all right. I'm just trying to get through everybody who believes that they have a contract, and the next one is Jermaine Franklin, who is also fighting Anthony Joshua. By the way, of the 3 fights that Eddie Hearn has said that he's trying to put together, nowhere have I heard Otto Weiland, Jermaine Franklin. I haven't heard any of these names, so I don't know how fighters get this shit into their heads that how is he a serious candidate? Like, there's no contract. There's no contract discussion. Do boxers get hit so hard in the head, Miguel, that they start to have imaginary contract talks?
They wake up thinking like, oh shit, like that was.
Oh my God! I talked to Bob Arum last night, and I got a fight with Tank Davis. Well, first of all, Tank Davis isn't with, I'm just telling you what I did. Okay, bro.
Yes, it's one of those things where it's kind of like one of those Back to the Future things where like Doc hits his head and he has the idea for the flux capacitor all of a sudden when he.
Oh no! This is a Marvel.
Holy shit.
We're in the Marvel boxing universe. This is the multiverse of madness. Like these boxers are on a different level of fucking crazy. I don't know if it's the writers or the actual boxers who wind up on these podcasts or doing interviews just floating out shit like, yeah, I'm a serious candidate for Anthony Joshua. Well, shit, I can say that. Okay? I mean, it's fucking nuts, bro. Like, you aren't. You literally are not.
Yeah, and this Jermaine, like I knew this guy's name sounded familiar, so I had to Google him real quick. Apparently, his last fight was against Dillian White, which I believe was a loss, but it was a majority decision loss. So one fucking judge had it a damn draw. So hey, you know what? If this is the kind of the direction that Eddie Hearn and fucking AJ want to go, then so be it. But of course, this is not coming from them. This is coming from whoever the fuck, him, Jermaine Franklin himself, for all I fucking know. Whatever this report is. So let's scroll down and let's see what the fuck exactly who said this. Is it him? Is it Franklin said it, or is it like AJ's team who said it? Who actually said it?
Loss. Eddie Hearn, loss. Other names, loss. Hearn. It was Hearn.
Oh, I see.
Hey, he is not expected to be picked to face Joshua. Okay, so how did this what the fuck is going on at boxing scene? Where you guys put together this shit? Yeah,
but wait a minute. I wouldn't knock this guy. Listen, I didn't know his name before you said it. Now I know his name, and that's what they were trying to get there. So congratulate him that he's at least throwing his name in the hat to get some promotion.
Maybe we should just have B-level fighters here at FightNet Radio to sit and do stories with us so that they can I can beat Errol Spence. Dude, you're a heavyweight. I know, but I could beat him.
Once again, I would love to see the money that DAZN's getting back for this opponent if it is the opponent. Are they really going to pay Joshua $30 million to fight this guy? Like, talk about robbing the bank. Sorry, Eddie Hearn, I guess he took a page out of Floyd's fucking book too, because that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, promoter of the year again, 2023. He gets Anthony Joshua $30 million to fight this guy from DAZN. No wonder why you're $6 billion in the hole. Get someone that knows the sport in your fucking head office. How about that?
Well, let's do some honorable let's do some honorable mentions real quick, because their names didn't really come up in mainstream stories because we got tired of them. Is Charlo versus Zoo signed?
Last I recall, it was postponed. They haven't mentioned another date, at least not that I saw recently. So
not signed.
Well, I don't know. See, what exactly does that mean per se? I'm gonna have to go into my lawyer speech right now. Does that mean that the fight is still signed but pending
within
because
an inch
of? With is it still first and fucking goal? Because it was originally signed but then kind of postponed it, which means what? It's still signed but for a later date, an undecided date. So technically, it is signed. I don't know. I'm tripping.
Okay, so the guy with all the belts is not signed to fight anybody in 2023. And the other Charlo has not signed to fight anybody as well.
When the hell was the last time the other Charlo fought? Shit, I don't even remember now.
Yeah, it's pathetic. It really is.
It really is.
Once again, these are young men that they made $1 million. They're gonna ride that $1 million out. They'll call Al when they need another $1 million. That's how I have no proof. But the way you guys fight and the way you guys pick your opponents and how you play your fan base by acting like you want big fights only to sign some pathetic bullshit little fight and then never sign the big fight and go away for a year and a half, it's a joke. It's a fucking joke. If you follow the PBC as if they're a real stable of fighters that are looking to do, you're the fucking clown. Look in the mirror. You're the clown that's fucking this all up. Stop buying these fights. If you bought Davis versus Garcia, you're the fucking clown. If you buy Spence versus Thurman, you're the fucking clown. There's no simpler way of putting this. This company has constantly showed us they do not want to put their fighters at risk against other companies, knowing damn well record shows Top Rank is better than them. They dominate when they do matchups together. Al Heyman's scared. He knows all of his fighters are fucking weak. I'm trying to get him mad. You guys see what I'm trying to do? Trying to poke the bear here. He knows they're all fucking weak. They don't want the matchups. They like to go home and flash their jewelry and Charlo loves taking pictures on his car. Look at my cars. Oh, my cars. Pussy shit. Not legacy. Will never be remembered 20 years from now, 10 years from now. You guys are all forgotten and broke.
Also, honorable mention to everybody who wants to fight Naoya Inoue now that he's dropped all of his belts and has gone up one full division. If you don't know, Naoya Inoue basically trash canned the entire belt division this past week and decided to go up to the next weight class, where everybody in that weight class, Miguel, has said, I'm next.
Well,
no contracts. By the way, no contracts.
Right. I mean, we have to assume at this point that Fulton Jr. is going to be the guy in place. Last I read, he's going to have a rematch with Figueroa, so I'm not sure how much or how long Inoue is willing to wait for that one, or if he's going to take a tune-up fight at 122 before he hops in there with the winner. But hey, either one of those fights is fun as hell. We know the punch output of Figueroa. I wouldn't mind seeing somebody like that throw a bunch of fucking punches at Inoue. That'd be awesome. Or Fulton, any one of those guys, it would be a great fight. I'd be down to watch those if we can make that happen, of course. But not signed. Yeah, I mean, and hell, I don't even know if the rematch.
Not signed.
I don't even know if Fulton and Figueroa is even signed at this point, the rematch, because that's the last I read. But again, it's just names being thrown out there. I'm not entirely sure if anything is signed. But yeah, nearly, almost there, kind of.
How was the theming of the show today, Andrew? How'd I do?
It was an awesome show. Those are huge fights that if boxing could get made, Lee, we're in great place. Unfortunately,
none of the fights are signed.
Zero fights are signed.
All right, let's end on a high note, because this is my favorite story that came out. We do have to talk about last night. ESPN did put on a card that we sadly all muddled through after the Charger game. At least Andrew and I did. First, Guido the Killer Pimp got beat by a monstrous punch in the 6th round that went to replay on an Indian reservation, which was kind of cool. I recommend going back to your ESPN apps and going and seeing that. But that's not the big deal. It's what Bob Arum said last night. Listen, FA looked terrible last night. But he's much better than that. All right, Bob. Are you just like looking for Tyson Fury and Baby Miller like opponents, and you're just building this dude up? Because he did look terrible. He kind of always looks terrible. You put him against separate opponents. He fought a guy who was hungry, who he tried to box. He doesn't know how to. It was dull, Andrew. It was dull as shit.
Hey, listen, real fast. You know when I knew this guy was a joke is before the fight, they showed the clip of 2018 when his opponent walked out of the ring when the bell rang. Mm-hmm. If that's the highlight that you have still, it's from 2018 and we're in 2020 fucking 3. 2023, you're still showing me something he did in 18. I don't think they're going anywhere with this guy. They got to try to feed him. Give him the baby, the big baby. That's a perfect opponent.
Get it over with. Get it over with.
He hasn't looked impressive since the guy walked out of the ring. Seriously. His opponent, he loses to Frank Sanchez, so he takes a defeat since then. And just he doesn't have those. There's no knockouts. They would have played him, you guys. But there's nothing there. Bob Arum needs to move on. Bad investment, and they know what to do with these guys.
Miguel, what did you think of last night's escapades?
Well, I was more looking forward to one of the fights on the undercard. That fight was a lot more entertaining. Nova versus Lopez. That's the one I wanted to see when I saw them on the fight card. I said, "Fuck yeah, this is the one." The rest I can give two shits about. Because
nice.
I don't know if we have. I mentioned this several times already, but here in the Barragan household, we don't give a shit about heavyweights really often, unless it's like the top dudes. Me and my dad are watching. It's like, oh, these are fucking heavyweights. I'll fucking switch it back to the UFC. Let's do this. That's pretty much what the hell we do at this point in the heavyweights. And unfortunately, that just was the case yesterday again when we put on, and look, the co-main event wasn't bad, right? It was okay. I'm glad that things didn't go awry, and I don't know what the hell Benji Estevez was looking at when he fucking was looking at Guido's cut. I didn't see no goddamn headbutt. I don't know what the hell he thought he saw a headbutt, but thankfully, Joe Testosterone was down ringside. He's like, hey, Benji, come down. And he basically invited him down to like their booth and be like, look, dude, this is how it went down. And that was clarified. So great. It's just one of those weird things that doesn't really happen too often. They were on an Indian reservation, so basically anything goes. They could have just fucking, pulled up a phone and showed it to him on his fucking cell phone, and it would have worked just as well. But
I thought it was hilarious. ESPN showing them what to look at. Oh my God. Yeah, look right here.
But again, it's cool. It's cool. Like, I'm glad the fact that it happened, because Rice would have been fucked out of a decision, and it would have been a riot.
It was a punch. Yeah. It was a punch. The replay clearly showed it was a punch.
Yeah. So it was the fight was okay up until then, right? That was the controversy, but thankfully everything turned out okay. And then the main event, which basically stunk up the house. It basically took a shit in the middle of the ring, and we called it a main event. It was basically a jab fest, and my dad was like, "What the fuck? These guys are the main event." And I told my pops, it's like, "Hey, Dad, we're watching some Boston tonight. It's top rank and it's heavyweights." And it's like, "Oh fuck, okay, I guess we'll tune in. We'll check it out." But yeah, it was dull as hell. I was trying to flip back and forth between the UFC card and this one. And when things start to kind of slow down, I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll just switch it back. But I managed to sit through the entire main event, and I don't know what the hell, if it was some sort of moral victory from Effie's opponent, Stephen Shaw, to just make it 12 rounds, because that seemed that he was moving. You can tell that the judges were giving Effie the rounds just simply by him moving forward. And he wasn't doing bad. It wasn't like Shaw didn't start off bad. He was doing good. He was letting his hands go. It just seemed like he wasn't doing enough. He was more concerned with making it the 12 rounds than actually trying to risk and win the fight. Everybody was saying, push Effie back. The dude can't fight going backwards, and Shaw did none of that. So there's your decision. Hogba, whatever, got himself another victory. And his highlight of his career basically is a dude stepping out of the ring for a pay dispute. It wasn't even so much because he was scared to fight him, but it was mainly a pay dispute. But yeah. Oh well, another stinker of a Saturday night.
Unfortunately, listen, I didn't like how they reversed the ref's call on the fly. You know, there's rules set in place for a reason. That cut did not happen in that round that they reversed it. There was no replays in that on the rule books. And there is no replay. The fact that they were like, oh, this is an Indian reservation. Fuck that. We can do what we want kind of approach to it is bad. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence in going to an Indian reservation. Swear to God. To do a fight. I don't want changes on the fly to the fucking rule book. If that man would have lost, everyone, you know, he's 16-6. His career doesn't look that great anyways, but he would get another fight. They would show the replay of him punching him in the blood. He would get all the credit, just like we did back in the day, just not the win on the record, which that's life, man. Sometimes life is shitty. Shitty things happen. And unfortunately, the ref didn't see the headbutt. And I get it, Miguel. I'm totally with you. But what professionally they should have done is take this situation and change the rules on a later date and then say, hey, you know what? Because of this fight, we see that with the technology that we have, it's clear as day that we need to change the rules, and that's what we're doing because of this. Boom. Now we're done. But to just be like, hey, bro, no, you can't do that. Come down here. Yeah, 2 rounds ago, got that shit totally wrong. Change your mind. Change your opinion right now. Hey, come on. This is bullshit. So, listen, no harm done. The Guido, the Italian heavyweight guy, he will move on. They will show that it was a fucking freakish accident, a punch that cut him. Now, that scar is there, that he's going to have to deal with that the rest of his career. But it's not a terrible defeat. It's not like I don't believe in this guy now because he took a punch that opened up a cut that they stopped on the TKO. So, with all that being said, Miguel, I was a little like, this is bullshit. This is what we're doing now. So
yeah,
that's
it seemed very WWE-ish, just like, oh, we're just gonna make up the fucking rules, and someone's gonna interfere. We're gonna have this smash of the finish. Like that's kind of what it seemed. It's like everybody just kind of anybody calls the shots at this point. That's kind of what it felt like. But
yes.
I was overall I was okay with the fact that Rice wasn't screwed out of a fucking decision, because yes, life is unfair and it really sucks. But it would have been really bad for I mean, hell, there would have been a fucking riot in the goddamn arena if that was the case, considering everybody saw a goddamn punch, everybody but the referee, but Benji Estevez. But I'm happy that Rice got the decision right, and everybody's like, oh, phew, all right, a controversy avoided or whatever. But it really was like they basically called the shots like on the seat of their pants. Really, it's like, what? It wasn't even the round that it happened in. But let's just go ahead and check out the fucking ESPN, go into the what's his name, ESPN booth to like take a look at the replays and whatnot. But I'm okay with the fact that we got it right, because like, god damn it, so many goddamn things are going wrong. They just went about it the wrong way. So they got the right answer, they just kind of went the wrong formula, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I would see that.
There you go. And that covers all of boxing. You guys are up to date. So go back and make your posters and make your stories and hypothetically believe in fights that aren't really happening. And if you watch Saturday night, you completely got screwed out of at least an hour and a half out of your life for watching. You got screwed out of it. I'm just saying, you're not going to get that time back if you watch the Ajabaga fight. It was pretty awful. Please go to boxingtonight.io, and as always, at FightNet Radio for all of your needs, at FightFiendMigs for all of your at FightFiendMigs needs. You can follow all of us. We cover boxing all week long, 7 days a week. Our goal is to be the single most dominant force ever on Facebook, and we're well underway, and I really do appreciate all of you for enjoying the content that we're putting out. And we will see you guys all next week with a brand new show.